Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true.
I have been following the court-martial of Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin since the very beginning. And after doing some research, it's beginning to look like Terry Lakin was set up and railroaded by Obama and his network of obots to silence him on the issue. About a dozen friends and I attended the Lakin court-martial. The proceeding took place, ironically, while a picture of George Washington watches over the courtroom. He must have been rolling in his grave. So, during the trial, they talked about everything except the initial reason Lakin invited his own court-martial, which was because he believed his orders were unlawful, coming from a president that is not a natural-born citizen. Lakin was denied any evidence to prove his innocence, which gave him no chance of winning his case whatsoever. The denial of this evidence ended up putting him in a position to fight just to save himself from going to jail. Only after Lakin was found guilty would they play his YouTube video that told his actual reason for not following orders to ship out to Afghanistan. Luckily, I think this video is the reason that Lakin only got 6 months as opposed to the 3 years that the prosecutors were hoping for. Had they played the video beforehand, Lakin may have even gotten off. But the jurors never heard a single word about Obama. All they were told was that Lakin missed his plane and failed to show up to ship out. Never any reason as to why, just that he failed to report. Towards the end of the trial, Lakin's attorney, Neil Puckett, had a change in attitude. He started talking down to Lakin and saying things like, "You were wrong, weren't you? And you got bad advice, didn't you?" He just really started making him look bad. We were all pretty much in shock and couldn't understand the Jekyll and Hyde attitude this man was experiencing and why he was doing this to his own client. Then it was over and the jury went off to decide Lakin's sentence. His sentence ended up consisting of 6 months in prison at Fort Leavenworth, getting kicked out of the army, and a loss of his benefits. While we were there, we ran into a few obots. These are people that, no matter how much proof you give them, or how many facts you show to debunk them, they just will not give up on praising the Messiah, also known as Barack Obama. These two obots' names were retired Colonel Philip D. Cave and Colonel Dwight H. Sullivan. A day or two after the trial, we found out that there was a third obot there. Her name was Marina Kennedy. Marina, also known as Mary, seems to think she is some kind of undercover seductress spy and goes by the name Mata Mary, which is supposed to be like Mata Hari. We were aware of the 2 male obots present, but didn't realize Mata Mary was there until we found a thread on the FogBow forum where she provided her notes on each of us supporters that attended the trial. They bashed every last one of us and made up lies about all of us and made some kind of reference in the forum thread that our identities had been passed on to the proper authorities. Who do these people think they are? Were they sent by Obama? Why were they there taking notes on all of us and later posting them in a message forum and trying to figure out all of our names and personal information? I made a video with footage from the trial. The following day, a friend sends me a link to the FogBow forum, and I'm going through this thread, and I see my video posted there. There is a comment after it saying, "Haha, that didn't take long." I commented on her video about her spelling, and I made her remove it. I replied saying, "Sorry, but the video is still there, and I left the link." They all of a sudden go trying to find out who I am, and start calling me fat, and telling me that I was wearing leggings, and that I was a hard-looking blonde. I started replying to their comments and their lies, and started defending Lakin, and they kept saying that I was off topic. The comments exploded, and the Libnets kept complaining that they wanted me gone. Gone for posting facts. They couldn't stand it. So, To appease his angry mob, who couldn't deal with the facts, the owner of the board, Foggy, gave me my own thread, and called it something like, a thread for the Kenya lady, because my ID is Kenyan-born Obama corn. There were about a dozen people who attacked me, telling me they were all lawyers, and were much smarter than me, and that I didn't have a chance against them. I took them all on, with fact after fact, about how Obama is ineligible, and they went on, and on, with their lies. Over and over they complained that all we do, the birthers, is block people on their sites. Kind of funny, when I'm the one that is banned, on their forum. My YouTube channel is wide open, and I told them so. I told them I do not block, nor do I censor and remove comments, as you can see, from all the hateful obot comments that are littered all over my videos. They responded saying that once they were done with me, that I would be censoring people, which I'm not. You could tell they were starting to get upset. They started copying my comments out of context, trying to make me look like a liar, but I did not budge. Then, one time, after hitting refresh, I get the error message that my IP address had been banned. I guess they complained enough that someone with facts was hijacking the board, and that they can't afford to let others see this info, or it may get them thinking that Obama is illegal. A friend later went back and saw that at the end of my thread, they posted my real name and my personal information. Our group wanted to find out who these stalkers were and expose them and their hateful tactics. For as hard as these people were working to try and shut down the eligibility issue, we knew it wasn't all on their own. They had to be connected to Obama in some way, because their tactics are going way overboard. They are doing their best to stifle the people who are pushing the eligibility issue by harassing them and trying to shut down their websites. You even have them admitting this in comments. Then, the following day, I get an email with a link that is an article about an investigation. The article is titled, "Frantic Effort to Stop Questions on Obama Eligibility." And it says, private investigators have revealed to Conservative Examiner the details of an investigation into the frantic effort by Obama operatives to stop all questions concerning the constitutional issue of presidential eligibility. The article goes on to say, the ongoing investigation has been a work in progress for several months, and the sources state that there is much more information to come out. Conservative Examiner can now reveal that 2 websites have been devoted to the singular purpose of maligning, disparaging, and threatening conservatives who wish to discover the truth about Obama's background. Those sites are the PolitiJab and FogBow forums. The main players behind the scheme are those with the screen names of Foggy, Realist, and Justin. Conservative Examiner has learned that many, if not most of the masterminds behind the infamous PolitiJab and FogBow websites are attorneys who are activists within the left-wing extremist fringe of the Democratic Party. More and more, this looks like Obama's doing. So I decided to do a little more research. What I came up with is pretty much proof to me that Obama's got his hands all over this one. So, Phil Cave, the obot from the Lakin trial, has a website, and you can see on that site that he has bashed Lakin since the very beginning. You can also see that there are comments by Cave that talk about Lakin's new attorney, and he insinuates that he knows nothing about him. But the truth is, Mr. Cave and Mr. Puckett, Lakin's attorney, are friends on Facebook and have been since June of '09. So Puckett is defending Lakin, while Cave and Sullivan, his friends, are bashing the heck out of Lakin on a daily basis. Lakin's attorney, Neil Puckett, has a partner in his law firm. That partner is Haitham Faraj. Haitham used to be an intern at the ADC, the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. Kareem Shora was the national director there at the time. Kareem Shora just happens to currently be one of Obama's Homeland Security advisors. Now you may say that just because they worked together does not necessarily mean that their paths ever crossed, but I have evidence to the contrary. The following email was initiated by Faraj. You can also see that the email was sent to Shura. You can then see that Shura forwarded the email on to more people, and in doing so, says the email came from a friend. So this proves that they more than just knew of each other. Faraj was also a speaker at the ADC convention in 2007, and his panel was facilitated by Nola Shura. So the Shura family knows of Faraj as well. Obama was also confirmed as attending this convention. Was Obama first introduced to Faraj at this event? Someone must know if they talked. So anyways, you now have one of Obama's advisors, who is good friends with the law firm that Lakin hired. Did Lakin know this before he dumped Jensen and let Puckett take over? There are so many questions that need to be answered. Like, why does Cave know way ahead of time that Lakin was going to change his attorney? And what was on the disk that the Obots handed to the defense during the Lakin trial? Why is Cave in comments acting like he knows nothing of Neil Puckett when it clearly shows that they are friends on Facebook and have been since June of 2009? It's all just too fishy and really needs to be investigated. I have so much more info on this topic, but needed to get this video out as soon as possible, so it is not yet complete. Was Lakin aware that his attorney's partner, Haitham Faraj, has comments on his Facebook page saying that Israel should be wiped off the map? The comment was made by a family member of Faraj with the same last name. This connection to Obama is just way too close for comfort, and I can't see how this wasn't a total conflict of interest. I was told that retired US Army Major General Paul Vallely was the one that introduced Lakin to Puckett. So, how did Paul Vallely come to engage in that? Did someone suggest to him to introduce them, or did he do this all on his own? If someone else referred him, then who was it? And who actually invited Lakin to the Colonel Allen West event in the first place, so that Vallely was able to introduce them? Was this all purposely set up so that Lakin would run into Puckett? Why does Phil Cave insinuate in comments that he knows what Lakin's outcome will be and recites it exactly, but tells people they aren't supposed to know this until after the trial? Since I finished this video, I have identified roughly a dozen more Obama brown shirt thugs and will be coming out with part 2. So, what's your opinion? Does it look to you like Terry Lakin was set up? It sure does to me. I mean, with all the attorneys in this country, how does Lakin end up with a terrorist defending schmuck who has a partner that wants Israel wiped off the map and who is one step away from the president? There couldn't be a more clear conflict of interest, in my opinion, and I believe that Lakin was railroaded by Obama and his network of obots. To be continued. And there are many more obots to be exposed.